And you know, we need more voices like that. And you know, Andrew's running for state senate, U.S. state senate. And he has a hell of a shot in getting there, I'll tell you what. And it's awesome to see somebody with such passion in what he does. But he cares for everybody across the board. And he wants to see Colorado a better place to live. And I personally just have to say that, man, I just have been enjoying his race and watching it grow and things changing and just coming from the opposite side, shocking everybody. But you know, that's what we need in D.C. We need somebody that carries that voice, carries the recovery voice. So D.C. for Colorado. So at this time, what I'd like to do is, I'd like to read a plaque that we have. It says, "Surrounded by Recovery. This is in recognition for the support that you have shown the Colorado recovery community in efforts to make Colorado a better place to live. Presented to Andrew Romanoff. May you carry Colorado's recovery voice to Washington, D.C. by Surrounded by Recovery Colorado, 3rd Annual Recovery at the Capitol 2010 Rally on the west steps of the Colorado State Capitol. It's given this 21st day of May 2010 to ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andrew Romanoff."
I told Mark he ought to be like at a wrestling match or some kind of WrestleMania. He's a great announcer. Hey, thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you for sharing a beautiful Friday afternoon in Colorado with me. It's a great day to be alive and in recovery. And I'm in recovery too from 8 years of hard labor in the building right behind me. If you've been to the state capitol before, you know what I mean. It is a tough place to get folks to get along and get things done. I'm proud of the leadership that we were able to bring to the Capitol, leadership to lift Colorado from the bottom of the nation, which is where we found ourselves in treating drug and alcohol addiction, and finally put this state on the map to provide services for folks in need. That was possible because of the work that you did, the rallies that you held, the lobbying efforts that you made possible. Thank you for doing that. We still have a lot of ground to make up. A few years ago, I was lucky to propose that we offer counseling and treatment for women whose children had been removed from their homes because of the drug or alcohol addiction from which they suffered. I was proud to come back to the Civic Center a few years later and meet many of the women who had been reunited with their kids. And a colleague said to me, well, why don't we actually provide this kind of treatment and counseling and support before folks are addicted to substances in the first place? Why don't we nip this problem in the bud and treat folks early on? And I hope Colorado will one day be wise enough to make that approach as well. You know, Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, concerned citizens can change the world." Indeed, she said, it's the only thing that ever has. That's the value of the work that you're doing to help your own relatives and your friends and yourselves, to help all of us live in a more hopeful and beautiful place. We can do that in Colorado. We can get there from here, but not at this rate. Not while too many folks are in ignorance or denial and shortchange the services we need. Not while too many folks, Democrats and Republicans alike, continue to allow Colorado to lag the rest of the nation when it comes to funding drug and alcohol services. There is no joy, no pride in becoming 49th or 50th in the United States of America in treating drug and alcohol abuse. That is where Colorado has found itself for too long. It is not where we ought to be. We ought to be number one. We ought to be leading America and make it possible for more families to lead healthy and productive lives. We can do that. We can do that together. The last thing I want to say is this. Many years ago, about the time that I was born, and my mom, I should credit for that, by the way. She's here, a former social worker. Kat Kaplan is here. So, my mom may remember the year that I was born. It was 1966, as I recall. And in that year, another senator, a fellow who had the office that I'm now seeking in the U.S. Senate, a man named Robert F. Kennedy, went to South Africa to argue against apartheid, the system of institutionalized racism that trapped whole generations of South Africans in a kind of second-class citizenship. It wasn't fashionable, it wasn't popular, it wasn't safe for American politicians at the time to speak out against apartheid. But Robert Kennedy did that. He went on a day like this, in the beginning of the summer, to Cape Town, and he spoke to the Union of South African Students in June of 1966. This is what he said. Each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples can build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. We have lost a little bit of the spirit that Robert Kennedy brought to this country in the 40 years or so since he was gunned down. But we can bring it back. We still face walls of oppression and resistance, but we can build a current. And those ripples start here and now. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for the honor you've given me. I appreciate it all.